This happened a few years ago. I was 34 and always loved the outdoors. I was a decent hunter and a part-time wildlife photographer. I planned a weekend hunting trip in the woods of Appalachia. I thought it would be peaceful, just me and nature. I haven't stopped thinking about it. I set up my camp. It felt good to be there. The air was crisp with earthy scents. It was quiet, just me and the woods. I sat by the fire that night, listening to the crackling sounds. At some point, I heard something that caught my attention. It was almost like a wolf's howl, but it didn't quite sound right. I paused. Maybe it was just my mind playing tricks on me. I brushed it off. Laughter? I thought about it, but it didn't make sense, at least not in those woods. The next day, I woke up early and decided to scout for deer. The forest was unusually quiet. There should have been birds or some rustling. Instead, there was just an eerie calm that made my skin crawl a little. I shrugged it off. Maybe it was just the time of year. Later, I found footprints leading away from my campsite. They were small, much smaller than a deer. I squinted, trying to make sense of it. I didn't think I imagined them. I took a photo, but when I looked back at my camera, I noticed other shots were blurry. It felt wrong. The air was heavy. I couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. As night fell, everything got weirder. I was sitting by the fire when I saw something move in the trees. Just a flash. My heart raced. I can't say for sure what I saw. It could have been my imagination, or maybe an animal, but the thought of something watching me kept creeping in. The next few nights were restless. I kept hearing that laughter. It echoed like a distant child's giggle, sending chills down my spine. I wanted to convince myself it was all in my head. I didn't sleep well, and the woods felt more oppressive each night. I thought about going home. On the final night, I stepped outside to clear my head. I felt drawn to the darkness. Then I saw it again, that flash. This time it was closer, just beyond the trees. I felt my heart racing again. I strained to see, but there was nothing there, just silence. Then I heard the laughter again. It was almost right behind me. I turned around, and that's when I saw something. Something small, pale, and not quite there. It stared at me with wide eyes. My breath caught. I wasn't sure what it was. Then it turned and ran. I blinked, and it was gone. The laughter faded into the night. Maybe I just imagined it all. I don't know. But I feel it still, like shadows that linger in my mind. Did I really escape those woods? It still haunts me. I hardly slept that night. I kept replaying what I saw in my mind. The pale figure, those wide eyes. It didn't feel real. Morning finally came, but the discomfort in my stomach didn't fade. I decided to pack up early. I needed to clear my head and get back to the safety of my home. But there was something else pulling at me, a nagging sensation that I couldn't leave without knowing more. I grabbed my camera again, hoping to catch something, anything that might explain what happened. After a quick breakfast, I set off toward the direction where I had seen the figure. The forest felt different in the daylight. The shadows were just shadows now, but doubt lingered at the edges of my mind. I followed the faint trail, the ground crunching underfoot. As I walked, I noticed more strange things. Small, twisted tree branches that seemed to form unnatural shapes, and patches of dirt that looked disturbed, like something had been there recently. Then I spotted something unusual hanging from a tree. It was a small doll, tattered and worn, its glassy eyes staring straight through me. I felt a chill run down my spine. It was an odd find so far from civilization. I hesitated for a moment, then stepped closer to take a photo. Maybe it was just someone's lost toy, but the sight sent an uneasy feeling through me. I backed away slowly, the laughter still echoing in my mind, the doll's presence making it all too real. I continued deeper into the woods, my senses heightened. Every sound felt amplified. The wind rustled the leaves, each crack sounding like footsteps behind me. I shook my head, trying to push away the panic. I was alone out there, but was I really? That's when I heard it again, the laughter. It danced faintly through the trees. It was childlike, innocent, yet taunting. It beckoned me, pulling me to where the sound was stronger. I followed like a moth to a flame, dread clawing at my stomach. With every step, the laughter grew louder, wrapping around me like an unwelcome embrace. Eventually, I reached a small clearing. There, the laughter stopped. I scanned the trees, expecting something to jump out. Instead, there was only silence. My heart pounded in my chest. Then, out of the corner of my eye, I saw another flash, a small shape darting behind a tree. I called out, "Hello? Is anyone there?" My voice felt small. No reply came, just the wind whispering through the branches. I decided to approach the tree. As I got closer, I spotted another pair of footprints. They were the same small prints I had seen by my camp, leaving in the opposite direction now. Had something been watching me all along? Before I could decide what to do, a sudden rustling in the bushes made me jump. My heart raced as I took a step back. Something was there. I turned to run, adrenaline surging. But then I stumbled over something, roots, branches, falling hard on the ground. As I pushed myself to rise, I caught a glimpse of that pale figure in the distance again, this time standing still and watching. The laughter filled the air once more. I scrambled to my feet, desperation fueling my flight. I had to get out of that place, away from whatever was toying with me. Just then, something broke through the trees behind me.
My instincts screamed to run, but curiosity held me in place. I had to see what it was. As I turned, the clearing felt like it was closing in. And then, everything went dark. I woke up with a start, my heart racing. The air was thick and damp, and I was lying on the forest floor. I struggled to sit up, my muscles protesting. Panic clawed at my chest. Where was I? The world around me was muted and dim. The afternoon light filtered through the trees. For a moment, I remained still, straining to listen for any sound. No laughter, no rustling, just an eerie silence that smothered everything. I took a breath to steady myself and pushed to my feet, brushing off leaves and dirt from my clothes. My camera lay nearby, mercifully intact. I grabbed it, hoping that maybe, just maybe, something on it could explain what had happened. As I reviewed the photos, I was met with images of twisted branches, the doll, and an unsettling blur, a faint outline that looked almost like a figure in the distance. My pulse quickened as I recognized the shape from my memory. I had to be careful now. I looked around, the unsettling feeling creeping back in. I still felt like I was being watched. I decided to retrace my steps, taking slow, measured movements in search of the trail. But as I walked, I noticed something odd, small objects scattered on the ground. I knelt down. They were tiny toys, figures shaped like animals, dolls, and other trinkets. Some looked hand-carved, others were decorated with faded paint. My stomach twisted as I realized these were all somehow connected to whatever I had encountered. I stood up, clutching the camera. More footprints trailed through the area. They looked fresh, the dirt still soft around them. My instinct screamed at me to turn back, but a stronger urge kept pushing me forward. Maybe there was an answer out there. As I continued, the trees seemed to close in tighter. The laughter echoed again, not in the distance, but directly overhead. A branch snapped above me. I looked up, just in time to see a flash of white. Something was moving, just out of sight. "Who's there?" I called, my voice shaky. No answer came. Deep down, I knew I was alone. Or was I? Suddenly, the ground beneath me shifted, and I stumbled again, nearly losing my balance. There was something hidden beneath the foliage, something I could feel and almost see. I bent down to clear some leaves, revealing what looked like a small, worn-out journal. The cover was faded, but I could make out a childlike scrawl. "Find me." My heart raced. What did that mean? I opened the journal, flipping through the pages filled with drawings, sketches of smiling faces, odd creatures, and more twisted trees. But then I found words scrawled in frantic handwriting. "They are watching. Don't trust the laughter." And then I heard it. The laughter erupted again, surrounding me. Before I could react, I felt a sudden rush of wind whip through the clearing.
Leaves swirled around me, and in the chaos, I heard whispers. My name was among them. It called me, pulling me as shadows danced at the edge of my vision. An overwhelming urge to run rushed over me, but the world spun, blurring the edges of my senses. I grabbed the journal tightly, my breath hitching as I made my way back, each step feeling heavier. I had to get out of there, but it seemed that whatever was in the woods didn't want me to leave. And that's when I heard it again, the soft, taunting laughter, closer than before. I stumbled back, adrenaline coursing through my veins, and the laughter grew louder, more sinister. It felt like it was coming from all directions, wrapping around me like a thick fog. I glanced behind me, heart pounding, but the trees remained still, their twisted branches like gnarled fingers reaching out to trap me. The journal felt heavy in my hands, and I fumbled with it, suddenly desperate to find anything that would guide me back. I flipped through the pages again, scanning for clues. "They are watching." The words repeated in my mind, gnawing at my sanity. Who was watching, and why? Then I heard another noise. This time it was softer, more deliberate. A whisper weaving through the trees. It didn't sound like the laughter anymore. It felt more personal, intimate. "Help us," it beckoned. I froze, caught between dread and curiosity. I was wrestling with an instinct to run, yet part of me wanted to understand what was happening. I took a cautious step forward, straining to pinpoint the source of the new sound. "Help us," it echoed again, almost pleading. I felt a shiver run down my spine. The wind rustled the leaves as if urging me onward. My mind screamed at me to go back, yet my legs moved in the direction of the voice. The path wound deeper, and I began to see faint shapes darting among the trees. They were small and quick, but I could make out features. Round eyes, smiles that felt too wide. Images from the journal flooded back to me. The sketches, the faces. Who were they? "Help us!" it rang out yet again, closer now. I picked up my pace, desperate to reach whatever was in the shadows. I needed answers. But as I pressed on, the atmosphere thickened, the light dimmed, and I could actually feel something lurking just beyond the veil of trees. The air turned colder, and dread settled heavily in my stomach. Suddenly, I rounded a bend, and everything seemed to shift. An opening appeared, revealing a small clearing bathed in an unnatural glow. In the center, a circle of dolls hung from the branches, their eyes staring blankly ahead, unblinking. The whispers grew frantic, echoing in and out of my mind. "Help us!" they cried, and as I stepped closer, I noticed they were no longer just dolls. They were remnants of children, faces twisted in silent screams, stitched together. I staggered back, horrified. They were trapped, somehow bound to this place. Then my heart dropped. One of the faces looked eerily familiar. A child with big round eyes and dark hair. My breath hitched as I realized it was the face of a girl I had once known, long gone from my life. "What happened to you?" I breathed, the weight of the moment crashing down on me. The laughter erupted again, now loud and mocking, cutting through my thoughts. Panic surged, drowning out all reason. I turned to run, but the path I came from was gone, swallowed up by trees that seemed to shift and sway. It was as if the forest had closed in, trapping me. I could feel them. Whatever was watching, whatever was laughing, was now looming just out of sight, and I was running out of time. I had to escape this nightmare, whatever it took. And then, just in front of me, a figure stepped out from behind a tree. The moment we locked eyes, my heart sank. This was my worst fear made flesh. The figure emerged from the shadows, its features obscured by darkness. I felt paralyzed, rooted to the spot as I stared into its eyes. They were hollow, devoid of life. It was a twisted reflection of a child, smaller but somehow more menacing. "Help us," the voice said again, only it wasn't coming from the dolls anymore. It echoed from this creature, sharp and jagged. My instincts screamed for me to flee, but something held me there, frozen in a mix of terror and morbid curiosity. "Who are you?" I managed to whisper, unsure if the question would be met with more laughter or silence. "Join us," it said, the smile widening unnaturally across its face. Suddenly, the clearing shifted again, and the trees twisted into monstrous shapes. The laughter echoed more sinister than before, surrounding me like a swarm. I glanced behind, wanting desperately to find a way out, but my focus snapped back to the figure as it stepped closer. I could see it more clearly now. Its limbs were proportioned wrongly, elongated and twisted. "Why are you doing this? What do you want?" My voice was quaking, but I couldn't hold back the questions. "Help us," it replied, tilting its head in a mock show of innocence. "Forever trapped, forever laughing." The branch it was standing beside creaked ominously, and I could feel the ground beneath me pulse with a sickening rhythm. I took a shaky step back. Then something drew my attention to the edge of the clearing. The trees began moving, their bark shifting, revealing faces. Horrified faces, mouths open in silent screams. My pulse quickened. They had been watching all along. "You're all," I stammered, realizing too late what I was witnessing. My heart raced as it sank in. The forest was alive with spirits bound to this disturbing realm. "It doesn't matter," the figure said, a sense of urgency creeping into its tone. "Join us, or be lost like them." My mind spun with fear and confusion. I wanted to run, to leave this horror behind, but the way out was obscured. Where could I even turn? I was trapped between the encroaching shadows and this haunting figure. The whispers swelled around me, growing louder, more chaotic. "Join us, help us." They clamored like desperate souls trying to escape a fiery pit. I felt their energy suffocating me, and I gritted my teeth, trying to tune it out. "Get away!" I shouted, lunging forward in a last-ditch attempt to push past the creature. I barely brushed by it as I sped into the thick forest, branches clawing at me, desperate to drag me back. I was running on instinct, heart pounding. I zigzagged through trees, trying to shake the feeling of being pursued. But still, the laughter reverberated behind me, taunting and chilling. The whispers faded into a cacophony of hopelessness, and I knew I couldn't stop until I broke the cycle. Then, just a few steps ahead, I saw a flicker of light pierce through the trees. Hope ignited within me, urging me forward. But as I reached for it, the ground gave way beneath me, and I felt myself plunging into darkness. That's when I heard it. The unmistakable sound of frantic laughter echoed from above, sealing my fate. I landed hard on the ground, the impact knocking the breath from my lungs. Pain shot through my legs, but I managed to push myself up, gasping for air. Around me was a dim, underground chamber, lit only by flickering torches embedded in the walls. The laughter continued, echoing through the space, as if the walls themselves were alive with mocking joy. I was not alone. Shadows flitted across the room, darting just beyond my line of sight. My heart raced as I tried to make sense of my surroundings. I stood on damp earth, the air thick with moisture, and something else, a stale, bitter scent that churned my stomach. "Welcome," a voice chimed, smooth yet chilling. My eyes darted toward the source, and I saw a figure stand partially cloaked in shadows, a silhouette that mirrored the creature I had just fled from. This one was different, taller, more imposing, but just as twisted. Its eyes glinted in the torchlight, alive with a predatory gleam, and I felt a familiar sense of dread wash over me. "Why are you doing this?" I managed to force out, my voice trembling. I took a step back, heart racing. This place felt wrong, laden with a palpable tension that buzzed in the air. "To play," it said simply, tilting its head with a playful grin that made my skin crawl. "We don't get many visitors down here. It's so much fun to play games with the lost." "Games?" I echoed, barely above a whisper. "What do you mean?" "Exactly what you think," it said, stepping closer, bathed now in the torchlight. The full horror of its visage struck me. Its features were a grotesque collage of childlike joy and something darker, more sinister. Its eyes glinted in the torchlight, alive with a predatory gleam, and I felt a familiar sense of dread wash over me. "Why are you doing this?" I managed to force out, my voice trembling. I took a step back, heart racing. This place felt wrong, laden with a palpable tension that buzzed in the air. "To play," it said, tilting its head with a playful grin that made my skin crawl. "We don't get many visitors down here. It's so much fun to play games with the lost." "Games?" I echoed, barely above a whisper. "What do you mean?" "Exactly what you think," it said, stepping closer, bathed now in the torchlight. The full horror of its visage struck me. Its features were a grotesque collage of childlike joy and something darker, more sinister. I scanned the chamber frantically, searching for an escape, but the walls loomed with motion, faces emerging from the stone, mouths twisting into screams and laughter. I couldn't tell if it was all in my head or if I was truly losing my grip on reality. Just then, a door creaked open behind me, a faint shaft of light beckoning from the other side. My gut told me it was a chance, the only chance I had, but dread anchored me in place. The figure laughed softly, noticing my hesitation. "You think you can escape? It's a sweet thought." Then the chamber began to shift. The walls pulsed, closing in on me. I could feel the air thicken around me, wrapping tighter, suffocating. "No!" I shouted, battling against the fear wrapping around me like chains. "Choose," the figure commanded, its voice sharp and biting. "Choose to join us, or choose to attempt the impossible." I glanced at the light, then back at the figure. Panic clawed at me. I was running out of time. I made a decision. I sprinted toward the door, hoping against hope that I wouldn't be trapped forever. As I threw myself through the opening, I felt cold fingers graze my arm. I stumbled into another dark passage, heart pounding and mind swirling with uncertainty. Behind me, the laughter morphed into howls of frustration. I turned to run, but the walls seemed to start closing in again. That's when I noticed something else, just at the corner of my eye. Flickering shadows darted beside me, and I realized I wasn't alone. There were others here, faces struggling for freedom, just like mine. But they weren't smiling. I rushed down the passage, adrenaline fueling my flight. The shadows danced around me, morphing in and out of view, but I couldn't focus on them now. My heart raced, and every sense tingled with urgency. I needed to find a way out. The walls closed in, pressing like icy fingers against my back. I felt the weight of despair with each step, as if the air itself was thickening to trap me. My eyes darted ahead, searching for any sign of hope. That's when I heard it, a faint whispering that rippled like water along a surface. I paused, straining to make sense of it. Help. It was barely audible, like the echoes of a distant dream. I hesitated, wrestling with the instinct to flee. Help us, the voice pleaded again, and I knew I had to find its source. I followed the sound, the flickering shadows shifting alongside me. I caught glimpses of faces pressed against the walls, mouths moving silently, their eyes wide with fear. They looked like they had been trapped for ages, their expressions a blend of desperation and resignation. I could feel their pain, an electric pulse of longing for freedom. The whispering grew louder as I rounded a curve. I stumbled into a small alcove where the darkness clung thickly, almost like a living being. In the center stood a figure, hunched and frail, illuminated by a ghostly light that emanated from an object clutched in its hands. "What is that?" I gasped, taking a cautious step forward. "This?" The figure raised the object, revealing a fragment of shimmering glass, almost like a shard from a mirror.
"It shows the way, but it also reveals the truth." "Truth?" I repeated, uncertainty twisting in my stomach. "What truth?" "Those who wander these halls," the figure said, its voice shaky yet firm, "are forever bound to their fears. You must understand what binds you here if you wish to escape." I was on the brink of asking how I could break free when I felt an icy presence brushing against my back. I froze, dread creeping up my spine. The shadow I had fled from before loomed eerily close, its laughter echoing through the passage. "Playtime isn't over yet," it taunted, flickering in and out of the fading torchlight. The voices in the walls crescendoed, urging me to run, and my instincts kicked back in. "I don't want to be part of your games," I shouted, and in that moment, everything went quiet. Then, all at once, the shadow lunged at me. I didn't wait. I bolted back the way I had come, the light of the figure's shard fading fast behind me. I heard frantic whispers calling for me to return, but I couldn't stop now. Every footfall echoed the urgency of my escape. The passage twisted and morphed around me, a labyrinth of choices and threats. Just when I thought I had traversed far enough, another figure emerged at the end of the corridor, a reflection of what I could become, eyes wild with terror. As I raced past, I caught a glimpse of my own horror reflected back at me in its gaze. It was then that I knew I was not only running from the shadows, I was fleeing from myself. The end of the passage lightened, promising a way out, but just as I felt a rush of hope, I saw a silhouette blocking the exit. I skidded to a halt. Someone stood in my path, and I wasn't sure if they would prove to be my savior or my doom. I stared at the figure, heart pounding in my chest. The shadow had given me just enough time to regain my breath, but now I was faced with an unfamiliar threat. The silhouette shifted slightly, enough for me to see the glint of eyes watching me, calculating. "Who are you?" I called out, my voice trembling despite my attempt to sound bravely defiant. The figure remained silent for a heartbeat longer, and that silence stretched uncomfortably. I took a cautious step forward, the dim light barely illuminating a face that seemed etched with shadows. I had no idea if this person was friend or foe. "It's not safe here," the figure finally spoke. Their voice was low, gravelly, as if it hadn't been used in years. "You shouldn't be wandering these halls." "Neither should you," I shot back, desperation creeping into my tone. "What do you know about this place?" "I know it traps people," they replied, stepping closer into the light. Their face was gaunt, drained of color, and scars marred their skin, like history written in flesh. My mind raced. Here was a person who might understand what I'd faced, but I didn't trust them yet. "Then why are you still here?" I asked. "Why haven't you escaped?" "I can't," they said, eyes narrowing. "It knows me. It knows all of us. You have to break the cycle if you want to get out." I felt a familiar chill traveling down my spine. Was this another game? "How?" I pressed. "What do you mean by breaking the cycle?" The figure hesitated, and I could see doubt flicker in their gaze. "You have to confront it. The truth of your fear. It's the only way to break its hold." "Confront what?" I demanded. "I don't even understand what binds me here." At that moment, the walls shook slightly, rattling the ground beneath our feet. A low growl vibrated through the air. The dark presence lurking just behind me seemed to stir at the sound. The figure's eyes widened, showing their alarm. "It's coming!" they shouted, backing away toward the shadows. Panic surged through me as I turned to look behind. The darkness twisted into a shapeless form, the laughter filling the air and drowning out the warnings. I had to make a choice. "Are you coming with me?" I asked, desperation pitching my voice higher. "We can face it together." But their face turned stern. "No, that's your battle." Before I could argue, they melted back into the shadows. I was alone again, standing at the mouth of fear that threatened to swallow me whole. I swallowed hard. The weight of isolation pressed on my chest. I felt trapped, yet I also felt something shift inside me, resolve mixing with terror. I had to confront whatever lay ahead. Taking a deep breath, I steadied myself, letting the weight of my past fears simmer to the surface. As I prepared to step forward, the whispering returned, more urgent than before. "Embrace us," it wheedled. "Embrace the truth." I stepped back instinctively, but the darkness surged with ferocity, and I realized I was running out of time. Whatever was behind me was closer now, and it was time to turn and face my fears, or to be consumed by them entirely. The exit behind me darkened, closing the path. I inhaled sharply, focusing on the uncertainty ahead. I had to confront my truth, whether I was ready or not. And with that, I stepped forward, ready to embrace whatever lay ahead. I stepped into the darkness, heart racing and breath hitching in my throat. The laughter faded, replaced by a low hum that vibrated through the air around me. Each step felt like I was walking deeper into a void, where shadows swallowed sound and light. I strained my ears, trying to catch any sign of what lurked ahead. It felt as if the walls were leaning in,
pressing closer, testing my resolve. I clenched my fists, fighting the urge to look back at the darkness that had held me hostage for so long. I had to push forward. Then, from the corner of my eye, I saw a flicker of movement. I turned sharply, but it disappeared before I could focus. My skin prickled with unease. "Hello?" I called out, my voice echoing back to me, mingled with faint whispers. "Turn back," a voice whispered, soft yet urgent.
It sent a shiver through me, piercing the confusion clouding my mind. "You need to leave this place." "Who's there?" I demanded, trying to keep my voice steady. "Show yourself." For a long moment, silence returned, wrapping around me tighter than before. I felt lost, alone in an abyss filled with unseen torment. Then it came again, a shimmer of movement. This time, a figure emerged from the shadows. It looked like a person, but something was off. Its body shifted as if it didn't quite belong to this world. Wisps of darkness swirled in and out of its form, making it hard to see its face clearly. "Beware," it began, voice trembling as though it carried the weight of despair. "It knows your fears. It will use them against you." "What is this place?" I asked, inching closer despite my instincts screaming at me to run. "What does it want?" The figure's eyes flickered to the ground, filled with pain. "It wants you to become like us, a shadow, trapped." My heart sank. I couldn't accept that fate. I don't want that. I need to break this cycle. "Then you must remember the moment," it urged, wavering. "You can't let it take you." Panic surged again. "What moment?" I shouted, feeling unhinged. "What do I do?" But before it could answer, the darkness erupted, swirling around the figure. It twisted, consumed by the shadows that had brought me here. "Remember," its voice faded, swallowed by the chaos. "Wait!" I screamed, but it was too late. I was left alone once again, the whispering crescendoing into a cacophony of torment. Suddenly, I felt a tingle of awareness. A memory flickered at the edge of my mind, something I had buried deep, fear that had rooted my existence. I gasped, a ripple of recognition coursing through me. A moment I dared not confront. Combating dread, I turned my focus back to the swirling shadows. "I'll remember," I vowed, feeling courage blend with fear. "I won't be consumed." But just as I found my grip on hope, the ground trembled again. The laughter returned, louder than before. "You think you can escape," it taunted. "You can't outrun your fears." In that instant, I realized the truth. Whatever faced me next wouldn't just be a manifestation of shadows. It would be my very own past. The walls shifted once more, and I felt the weight of my memories pressing down. Then, a bright flash lit the corridor, momentarily blinding me. "No!" I shouted, raising my arms instinctively. When my vision cleared, I saw it. A door, glowing faintly at the end of the hall. But the laughter grew louder, thrumming in my ears. I stumbled, torn between the doorway of escape and the foul clutches of darkness closing in. I had to choose, and quickly. The urgency pulled at me, dragging me forward, the door beckoning with the promise of release. But I sensed the specter of my fears lurking just behind me. And in that decisive moment, I realized I had to face them, one way or another. I took a deep breath, my heart pounding in sync with the shadows, and sprinted toward the door, ready to confront whatever lay beyond. I burst through the door, gasping for air as the sunlight flooded in, cutting through the oppressive darkness like a knife. Blinking against the brightness, I staggered into a clearing, the sounds of laughter dissipating behind me, replaced by the chorus of birds and the rush of wind through the trees. It felt surreal, like emerging from a nightmare into a far too vivid reality. Every part of me ached, the consequences of my frantic escape etched in my muscles, reminding me of the claustrophobic grip of the shadows. I turned to where I had come from, searching for any trace of what had pursued me, but the doorway back to the darkness had vanished, swallowed by the forest. Panic churned in my stomach. What had I just escaped? Was it truly over, or was this just another illusion? I sank to my knees in the lush grass, clutching the tattered journal I still held. Its pages fluttered from the wind, a mere remnant of the horror I'd just left behind. The journal seemed innocuous in the daylight, but it was a vessel of memories I had yet to confront, memories that lingered like shadows in the corners of my mind. As I flipped through its pages again, I recognized sketches of the creatures I had seen, drawings reminiscent of the figures laughing in the dark, the twisted children who had become a part of whatever entity had taken hold in those woods. I shuddered, running my fingers over their childish doodles that belied a sinister undercurrent. "Help us," they whispered in my mind again, echoing louder than the rustling trees. I felt their desperation clawing at me, a reminder of the bonds I had uncovered. What was truth amidst all this chaos? Did the figures find peace in their existence, or were they equally trapped by the cycle that denied their escape? I closed the journal, wrestling with the weight of uncertainty that gnawed at me. The laughter still flickered at the edges of my memory, threading through my conscious thought, challenging me to confront it again. Standing up, I took a look around the sun-drenched clearing. The horrors of the forest felt distant now, but I could still feel the invisible threads tugging at my heart. I knew I couldn't linger here, tainted by memories not yet resolved. I had escaped their clutches, but were they still out there? Would they try to lure me back one day? I made my way back toward the direction of my campsite, my senses heightened. I needed to find answers, even if it meant returning to the shadows that had engulfed me. As I reached the edge of the woods, looking over the familiar ground where I had pitched my tent, I glanced back one last time into the forest. Would I ever truly be free? I had survived, but the forest was alive with secrets, and I knew I couldn't fully escape its grip until I understood the truth of my fears and the past I had left behind.
With a last glance, I took a deep breath and turned away, leaving the woods behind, but with a feeling that they would never entirely let me go. The answers I sought dangled just out of reach, entwined in the intricate layers of a reality that stood simultaneously as terrifying and enticing. Maybe the forest would always linger in the corners of my mind, a reminder of what it meant to confront darkness. And perhaps, even as I moved away, I'd carry the laughter with me, a haunting, echoing reminder that I had tasted fear itself and lived to tell the tale. I knew I would never truly forget, nor could I pretend that the chase was over. I moved forward, challenging the things I didn't understand, and spent time reflecting, wondering if one day I would muster the strength to return and face the shadows once more.